Hey everyone, welcome to the BetSperts Golf Travelers Championship Betting Preview. I am Ryan Noonan, and one of us is more excited than the other two this week. That would be the director of all things content related here at BetSperts. It is Andy Molitor, fresh off of a Matthew Fitzpatrick victory, which was, I'm happy for you, but it hurt a little bit. But I'm happy for you. I'll let you celebrate before I inject my woes into it.
I know, and the messed up part, I was watching it at my dad's house, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, it'd be a smaller win if Zal won, but I in my brain, I think I'm cheering for him anyway. Usually, I'll just blindly cheer for money, but I'm like, I wanted it. I wanted that. We're just breaking through. We're so close. The dam's about to burst. It's going to be one of those things, and Christ on a bicycle. So many. It's like that, what's that horrible movie where the girl is like a bridesmaid in like a million different weddings? It'll come to me. Horrible. No, my wife watches bad movies, but it's
like
it's
Jennifer Lopez.
I feel like it's the girl from Grey's Anatomy.
Catherine. Yeah, the one.
Yeah.
Katherine Heigl.
Heigl.
There we go. I'm gonna Google it while we're talking, but definitely painful. And I don't know, Zal seems to handle it well. Zal's handling it better than people who are betting on him.
That's probably true. But I will say that Fitzpatrick does check the box, Geoff, that I know that you're looking for. We do want some new blood in there. We do want some, first-time guys. We typically like it to be our guys, both in terms of like guys we cheer for, and most importantly, guys we have tickets on. And I know that you and I were both in the Zal camp. Andy, again, had it too. That would have been great for the show. We all have Zal winners. But how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. I'm over that. Listen, I'm a Chargers fan. I love Finau. I cheer for losers. I can't get myself off the mat. In the moment, it stings. Would have been nice to pay for a trip to Disneyland. I was big. I invest big in Zal. I'm big on the British Open. Maybe my biggest bet yet. I kept reinvesting in a 70 as the line didn't move for months, as he showed he's a great golfer. I wasn't betting Fitzpatrick. I think I'd bet him at Wells Fargo. I think I bet him in 2 or 3 times in the last month, but we got here and it was 30, Ryan, and I'm not mad at him. I swung at Xander at 28 and Cantley at 28. I would probably do it again next week. I would have been more inclined to bet Burns at 35. I'm not shocked by it. I have buddies who loser, I can't believe he did it. No, looking right through him, in conversations Sunday morning, this guy can't win. I never get there. Some people, I'm not comparing him to DJ, but people literally called DJ a loser before. I'm not talking about the live stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. Before he won, that was a narrative I had to fight, Andy. In my first years as a golf podcaster, I literally had to fight against DJ being a loser. That's true. I'm not kidding. I'm not.
It is weird. The narratives that get spun
around
these guys.
Yeah. And, he's 27 years old. Everything changes. Because it's like quarterbacks. The second Russell Wilson won as a third rounder, everything changes. You go first over. You got to play and you got to be good. But there was still a time when we started watching football where you literally gave the guy 2 full seasons before you criticized him like Tua. He literally had 2. I remember even when Phillip was a rookie in 04, he had 20 games before no, we're going to criticize. That was the vibe. Spieth and Rory and post. I'm talking Tiger. You're just a loser if you don't do it by a certain point. It's kind of weird. We sometimes make jokes about it. I was never going to bet it, and I was happy for him. But it was a kick in the nuts. But he made the shots, man. Zal made some great shots. Zal had some great fight. At the PGA, fucking bounced back. He fought back. Every time he thought he was dead, he fought back. He's a fighter.
Yeah. I mean, that play, I think it was 13, that bomb that Fitz made. And then Zal got right up And made another 15-footer like right on the back of that.
And even to not make the double on right away on the back nine, like he had a nice par save. He made some putts. He made the putt on 11 when Foss walked one in and then missed the comebacker. Yeah, I don't know. I loved it. It was great. It's everything we love about golf. You know, as I hand my buddies who don't bet golf like my picks, their only request is like, I just want to be in it to the end. Well, we were like literally the last shot of the thing, considering Fitz tapped in before Zally hit it. So it's so fun. Congrats to Andy who did it, who it's like, no, I'm a Fitz guy. I'm gonna stick with it. He's part of my core. Like, I full credit to everybody who did that. So I don't know. Nothing changes. I'll be right back at the US Open next year over betting good golfers, because that's who's going to be contending and that's who wins it. Like, nothing changes in that regard, Ryan.
No, I thought the course was everything I thought it would be. I thought it was great theater on a Sunday. And to your point, Geoff, that's all. I mean, we want guys in the mix, but we also just want, great theater in the end. And the course, I think, presented that with kind of the way the finishing hole set up. We knew you had a birdie opportunity on 17 to close, and there were going to be some struggles on the back because of the way that course is laid out. So I think these weeks are tough when you have so many guys that are in the mix and you can't bring one home because, Saturday afternoon, not so much Sunday with some of the way things close, but, Burns and Wise are in the mix. I also had Scotty live at 19. So having Scotty and Xander, or Scotty and Zal, and then to have Fitz close the deal is, want to be excited for my friend to power through. So, but again, great golf.
I wanted it to go a different way. I wanted the playoff. I'm like, it's funny because I had them both. I'm like, because again, I'm not getting that money. So here's the thing. And I almost didn't bet Fitz because some of the offshore numbers were getting beat up. And finally it's like, all right, there's a 34 at Circa. And it's like a tipping point. I pick like 8 guys and then I whittle it down to 5 or 6. And I start looking at all the prices. I open 42 tabs and I price shop. And I have an offshore column and I have a column for Iowa. And there's a tipping point where, all right, like 5 out of the 6 guys have considerably better prices at DraftKings or Circa or FanDuel. I got to take a trip down. And it was one of those things where it's like, man, Mito was like 92 down. It wasn't by the time I got there, but there was a couple where it's like, I'm driving down. So it's funny. I have money in, I think they have to write you a check or something. I don't know. I've never gotten money from Circa, I guess, in Iowa. Usually if I win an outright, I just take it in Bitcoin, which RIP Bitcoin. But I take it in Bitcoin and I move it to a book where I'm betting like every day, or I'm putting NFL futures in. So there's a bunch of money down there waiting for me, I guess. We'll see how that goes someday when I finally trek back down. This week I'm not driving. There were some close. It was a close call. A couple of them are a little better. One of them Geoff bet, and he's going to get a better number than me because I'm not going down to partake in some DraftKings stuff. But the card is finalized. I've got sucked into the Geoff vortex on this one. I thought about it a little. Yeah, I'm like, God, am I going to do this? Am I going to do this? No, I have to. The number sussed it out. Should we just? Do you want to talk Brooks at all before we? Geoff didn't have any opinions on Brooks this morning on the timeline.
No, so I got fired up again. For me, it's more like stop being outright. Like, why do you care so much? The only thing that outraged me about the entire live anything is the nerve of a player to ask me or tell me why do I care not to care. Like, that was the only thing. Like, I feel like I've made jokes on both sides. I've been pretty freaking neutral. Like, I get it. Take the money. Easier schedule. Hall and Nash. Like, less dates. Do your thing. You can still get in the majors. I can't. Your caddies are getting flown first class. Your agent's getting paid more. Like, everyone in your ear is telling you to do it. Fine. I don't even disrespect it. But I also think you're allowed to be asked, like, when you, like, I'll ask about, like, 9/11 family opinions. Like, I think everything is fair game. The one thing to me that wasn't fair game is is asking me why, or telling me not, wondering why we care. That was the one thing. That's it. So that really pissed me off. That, especially when you're eyeball emojiing like last week at the first rumors.
Right.
So you want to fuck off, okay? Fuck off.
You know what bothers me? Yeah.
You can still play the majors. Regular events don't mean anything to you, and you get paid more in those anyway. You can never miss the cut. It makes perfect sense. As everyone tried to tell you, it made perfect sense for you. You were asking us why we cared. Like every conversation about Liv's like, oh my God, they can still play the majors. This is Brooks Koepka. He gets like all these no-cut events. He doesn't care about them anyway, but they're no-cut, so they're like guaranteed paydays. And he can still be Brooks Alpha. But when you get outdone at a microphone by like when Bryson is more articulate, respectful, mature about the situation than you, I'm allowed to make fun of you. That's it. As for the other stuff, I'm just sad because I don't like change and like European soccer or racing. Like it's weird. Those are mainly European sports fans are more used to it, where the best players aren't in the same leagues and competing. Me, Ryan, like I'm a North American spoiled sports fan. Our only concern about golf, Andy, was that hot European. By hot, I mean like game, was, he's moving to Orlando, guys. Guess what? He's trying to make the full-time move. That's all we had to worry. Like, that was the only question. That was it. When you move into Orlando or Scottsdale, what's the plan? What's it? That's it.
Yeah, like, are you looking at houses on Sea Island?
Yeah, like which
are like the 3 spots are you moving to?
Yeah, exactly. They like Orlando because you can get an international flight anywhere out of there any time of day because of Disney. It's just easy and it's beautiful and the most whatever. That was the only thing. That was literally the only thing as golf fans. That was the question. When you move to Orlando, Rasmus? That's all we had to wonder.
I'm still in the holding pattern.
Fraction.
I do. I'm fine with it. I'm still in the holding pattern where I don't give a shit what anybody does.
Spoiled North American sports fan. And I guess it's cool. It's cool. Like there is a cool aspect. Do I kind of want to see majors take a hard line and like stand up for the game and integrity? Like a part of me does, because I like seeing cool and balls to the wall fight. Like I think it'd be cool if the PGA throws everything they have at everything they have, and Liv throws everything they have, which is the money. That would entertain me. And we'd get to the majors.
I'm the same way, but I want to see the majors basically throw it in, instead of throwing it in the face of Liv, throwing it in the face of Jay, being like, hey, I love what you're doing with the whole ban and stuff, but we're going to let everybody play because it's the U.S. Open.
Well, the U.S. Open. Everyone.
Well, I mean, but they only had 2 weeks. I mean, if that was a month and a half out, it might have been a different case. But there's going to be a point where, and I tweeted about it, I said, you get a few more names. They don't have to be top 10 names. They can be top 30 names. You get the Matsuyama, you get the Cantley, you get the Hovland. Like, at what point are you like, I don't care what the PGA says. We're not going to have like 10 or 15 decent sized names missing just to make Jay feel better. Like, fuck
and like,
this.
what will their cutoff be?
Yeah,
then they'll have to make a, like, I get Hideki, but like there'll be a lot of guys over there. Like, what will their way be? And there's another part. Oh man, yeah. And I see Keith Pelly as someone who most aren't familiar with, but he's the president of the European Tour. I used to work for him when he ran the Argos here in Toronto. Then he went to run Rogers Sportsnet, which is one of our big sports companies, signed the $6 billion TV deal for the NHL in Canada that turned out to be the biggest cluster expletive for this company in terms of TV money, mainly because the Leafs never get out of the first round and it's all like playoff revenue, and Canada teams don't go deep, as Andy would like to laugh at. But they haven't made the money on this deal, and every year they just have to fire more people because of how much money they pay the NHL. And the first second there was smoke in the building that this deal was not a good one, Keith took that golden parachute and went to Wentworth and got this job to be head of European Tour Golf, which live on Wentworth. Amazing. And I promise you, he will not be like holding the last NFT as like PGA and European Tour crumble. Like, he will align with the money. He'll always take it from-
European Tour kind of already has.
Yeah, and that's all key.
Yeah,
Like,
I
he's
mean,
not
he's
going to
there.
be the guy holding the bag here. Like, are left without a chair or his entity being shit like the nuttest low. So yeah, I'm not surprised by that, and I would expect more cozying with DP Tour, and it just and finding ways for those guys to enter events and get the ranking points. And between those and the nibbles in Asia, the only question is, at some point, if you don't have your exemptions and you're not getting world ranking on Live, like Dustin Johnson's already going to be playing 15 events a year. You think he wants to go these random Asian and European tour places?
All right, so the appeal for them is to not have to.
Right?
Well,
so
that's again where these majors make their own rules. Like Augusta says, here's who we can invite, and the final way to get into Augusta, if you haven't, and obviously DJ is lifetime exempt there, but they all have the rule where, hey, also at the end,
what's Brooks? How does Brooks get into Augusta?
At the final way to get into Augusta is the Augusta committee has the right to just invite anybody they want, and they do it every year with international players who, they do it with here's a guy who's playing on the DP. He's great. He just doesn't have the points. He'd be a fun one. Like, they can invite anyone they want down the road.
One is a thing for Augusta. They have to be like playing to a standard, Andy.
Oh, and that's right.
They'd have to like Brooks Koepka. I don't know what he's ranked in the world. What's Brooks Koepka ranked in the world right now?
That's the thing.
He's got his PGA.
I don't want to debate. He sucks right now.
No, but he's got his PGA exemption and he's got his US Open exemptions. But the Masters, he'll have no exemption for.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Maybe
in another year
he's
and a half,
four-time winner, and we should just invite him.
In another year and a half, if he is playing poorly on live events and he's not ranked in the mat, like, should they just feel like we have to invite Brooks Koepka? Like, I'm just curious. I'm just like spitballing.
No, I have no idea what they would do. But I mean, like, next year, if it comes,
is he ranked outside of 30 right now?
19.
Yeah, he's still.
That's actually higher than I thought for a guy who's won once in 3 years.
Yeah.
Right.
At some point, though, his good wins have to expire on the world ranking.
Well, it happens to everyone.
Sort of like Spieth. When you get really, you can hang for a while, but they expire your past, and then at some point you just have a big drop. If that makes any sense.
Oh, it's just like tennis ranking, like tennis points.
Yeah, like he could still be holding on to, and not like, listen, Brooks played great in the PGA last year. He played great in majors, and those are worth a lot of points. So he still has events that hold his points. I'm not disputing that, but he could tumble quickly.
Yeah, and that's where I hate debating this, because we don't even know. Like, we have no idea what the four bodies will do with these guys. We don't know who's all going to jump. I think where I'm at again is I just popcorn Geoff, I just like to sit and watch and see like who's all going to go, what's going to happen, what's Jay going to do, what are the committees going to do, what's the RNA going to do, how's this going to hatch out. And the only thing that bugs me, what bugs me is the media. Is we cannot get a single fucking tweet from Kyle Porter or Brandel Chambly that is like, hey, Rory played great today. It is Rory played great today, and that's what it's all about, not taking the money. Like, they cannot get a tweet out without putting the second part in. It's like, oh my God, Matthew Fitzpatrick, he finally broke through because he didn't go to Europe and take the live money. Like, you don't have to add the second part to the tweet. Just say somebody did something good at the Canadian or in Boston. Like, those two cannot get a tweet out without mention. It's so in there. And I am going to single those two out because they're the worst about it. Everybody's
there actually might be a couple worse.
There are some that are even worse. But
no, and I agree. Like Chambly is like become the
tweet.
Chambly's become like the Antifa of this. Like, you're wrong too, buddy. Like, you're wrong. You got to call balls and strikes fair. At least it's what I'm trying to do. And yeah, people say I'm outraged. Like, the Brooks thing made me angry because the one thing I'm outraged about is asking me why I care, telling me why I care. And I'll say this, and people that have told me good information in the past, very good, who are in. Morikawa was playing this. Do not believe for a second he was not deep in hearing what they were saying. there were people so close to Colin Morikawa who thought he was gone. So there's no way he didn't entertain it extensively. And if like we could applaud him for the right choice, you could laugh at him for not taking the money. I'm just saying, don't play this like holier than now, like haha media, you never had me. Okay. I could like there are bosses at TaylorMade who told their team he was gone on Friday. I'll say that. I will say that. That didn't come without like substantiated flirtation. That like high levels of people in the know thought he was gone.
I'm kind of like
didn't
Geoff
do
with
that
this.
because of like a tweet. So that's just, and I'm happy staying. I think that's integral for the PGA fight because I think we'd all agree like they haven't lost. They've lost a couple blue chippers. Like I can't deny Bryson's impact and Brooks. Like I'm not calling him irrelevant. Like he's not fucking Phil Mickelson. No. No. He's not even Destin Johnson at this point. Like it's a loss. That's a big loss. But like there are like a gold standard of players and they haven't lost any of them yet.
Especially the young core, to your point, right? Yet. Because I'm kind of like you, and I know that it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but I do want to romanticize about knowing that API matters, and the Honda matters, and the Valspar matters.
By the hyperbole.
Yeah.
Bought into it. I'm the loser. Like, I cheer for my teams. Like, I'm the guy that gets sucked in. Like, my whole wardrobe is like 90% of my wardrobe's one team. The last 10% is I'm ready to go golfing. Like I buy in.
It's been incredible drama.
Like
it's incredible TV. But I'm with Geoff. I want all those little events to matter too. I want those guys that are inflated from a name value standpoint to drive down betting odds for the guys that I want to bet on that are up and coming. So like I agree with Geoff that we haven't lost.
Like Andrew Landry. Like just as an example, when Andrew Landry has to play John Rahm in a playoff, like to me, that's magic. That's magic. Kramer Hickok versus Harris English. Like you got one Ryder Cup established trophy players on the net jets, and it's another guy like who everything changes.
2 years ago, the Travelers, we had DJ and Brandon Todd, right?
Yeah, like to me, that is just like it's a magic of golf that I romanticize about and wrongly. And again, I totally get the live thing. And I give them credit for the first event. Because to me, that's a win. People mock it. The people that mocked it said it wasn't getting off the ground at Riviera and the Masters. So, like, you've got to call a strike too.
Yeah,
like,
now we have to shit on the Nickelodeon tour. I have not seen a single event. Like live is in my rankings. It's now PGA, DP, LIV, and Nickelodeon tour.
Well,
and
Nickelodeon guys.
Actually, is the Mackenzie tour still a thing up there?
Nickelodeon got some big names. They got some big names.
They kind of fucking did.
Don't laugh, Andy. Herbert's on the Nickelodeon tour, so I'm very pro Nickelodeon tour. Okay, if there's bets on Nickelodeon tour, it looks like I'm betting on Team Red by the one trailer. Okay.
I'll be watching.
Let's see if JT gets slammed.
Wow, that was
Hideci's going next. I think that's big, and I think the official biggest, like the first true L in all of this, because we're in a season. The season's happening. The majors are happening. Exemptions have clearly been granted. At least they were last week, as they should have been.
Yep.
The President's Cup. It's like just a dead fucking fish. And not to say the U.S. wouldn't beat the shit out of them anyway.
It's a great venue for it.
It's a great bet, but now it's like dead. You're gonna take Hideki, Louis. Answer bye. So I gotta watch Corey Connors get fucking trounced, and you guys gotta laugh at him because he can't win a match.
It's gonna be a bunch of Canadians.
It's gonna be a bunch of Canucks. Yeah,
yeah.
Like I don't know. We'll see a couple. Like we'll see. I'm just saying, like it's a tough enough event. Like we can have fun betting it. We get some great dogs and some great prices, and like. Hitting answer like team leader, international points, like some great bets you can make. But the event that already go to like show that it mattered is like, it's dead. It's dead.
Yeah. Oh, dude, gotta exhale after all that. Got it all out.
Yeah,
And
we're
both angry about something.
Yeah,
Ryan,
and I'll
you're
give
level-headed.
Liv gets wins. Like I'm here to like recognize their wins, like whatever they are in their accomplishment. But at the moment, like nothing technology was good about the last one, and like right now it offers nothing. I'm not like it's a long game. They're playing a long game, but at this moment it offers absolutely nothing. As I joked about yesterday, as I tweeted today, it's just a fucking bad movie that my wife would like with 25 actors that she knows who are getting paid a fortune, but the plot sucks, the acting sucks, and I'd rather watch an indie Corn Fairy.
Before we get
Valentine's
to the trailers,
Day, New Year's Eve, name the movie.
I've never watched one of those.
But you know what? That's what
I know what you mean.
At this moment,
before we go Travelers too, I'm saying Cantlay to Team Golf Fart or whatever it is. That's my prediction for Oregon.
And you could be very
Cantlay on Team Golf Fart.
Put it this way. I spoke to somebody already today who is more connected, was on the grounds last week. And I asked, like, give me a nugget. Like, give me a nugget. What are you hearing? He goes, well, I'm pretty close with Cantlay's agent. I'm not positive. I wouldn't be positive. As a PGA guy, not looking positive. Yeah. Now he prefaces it, this is the agent. The agent's going to get 10% of that, like the rain. Like, so everyone's got an agenda around these guys, and him would be to sell that Liv is good. Like, what's nothing wrong with it? Your legacy will be fine. Like, whatever you care about. And yeah, so there's that. So to your point, Andy, if you could get money on that, that seems like...
I know, I can't find markets on... I wish I could bet on everything in life, but
then you've seen players make total turns, like Harold Varner, and I don't want to say Morikawa, but like total turns on the rumors.
No, what's Kokrak doing? We all thought Kokrak was like...
Neiman was in the rumors. Neiman said
Varner
last week. Now, let's not forget all of these guys by playing coy. And if I'm Neiman, like, no, I'm just going to finish out the seal. I'll just keep saying no. I've heard a lot of stories that the guys that just keep saying no, the offer just keeps getting bigger. So that could just be part of the plan. Like, I'm not...
Kokrak's the ultimate...
You put in the media, you're not staying, and then you're offered another $18 million before you can tweet again. Like, then what?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I wonder how many times I can do this. It's like that, you know, with the telemarketer, you got to say no 3 times before they're allowed to hang up.
But this is like, people could tell me and like this is the biggest golf story of my life. I love golf. I love it. The only thing that makes me feel like that Sunday nighter versus the Raiders that ended horribly was watching the back nine Sunday. Like, it's the only place I can match that. Like, and I die for that feeling of pure adrenaline. I live for it. Life's too boring to not be able to get that somewhere without having to inject something into your arm. For that to happen naturally, as chemically imbalanced as I am. So I just love golf and I'm passionate about it. And I get mad when people tell me to not talk about why do you care. I care a lot, actually. Truth is, I care a lot.
I think Geoff just compared Sunday golf to heroin. Kids, please don't do heroin.
Yeah, no.
Watch golf. Don't do heroin. That's going to be. We're going to take a stand today. Actually, we're going to be a strong anti-heroin podcast. Which I'm
mean, like, I wish I could import that feeling into someone else's body, and they'd be like, "What are you on? Like, what did you take to feel that?" That's like. And it's just
Zal at 35.
Yeah, it's just Zal at 35. But that's the old, like, yeah. And I don't know. Yeah, that's it.
I love the passion. You don't have to apologize here ever.
And it sucks that we got to do these shows and do a half hour about this because these events, I don't know, maybe the events suck anyway, but still.
we are a half hour deep.
But I agree, though. It is the biggest golf story in a very, very, very long time and has massive impacts moving forward. And this is something that we do. Like we're here to talk about betting picks, but like we essentially, in a different way than the Brandel Chambleys and Kyle Porters, that we do cover the sport. So we are invested in, just the ecosystem and the health of the game and all these things that kind of impact it. So it's,
and
30 minutes, we're still in the infancy of this. So it's
it's not like I'm not. There's part of it like I could be extremely pro live. Like Ryan, you know how this works. Like anyone who does this sorts of thing, if you've got a following, could go freelance like live like exclusive live event contents. More golf. It's a different event to bet on.
Ryan and I are going to the one in Chicago.
They're going to be like 40 minutes down the road.
I think they're going to come. There's a plan to come to my backyard next year, and I think I would go. Like I'm not saying I'm not going, and I'm not saying once like they give me a reason to watch, I'm going to watch. But right now, it's like watching the movie New Year's Eve. But they could turn it into. I have no doubt that like. It's also step 1 and they're here for step 50 and it's a path and we're here at the beginning. I'm not naive enough to that. And that's why I come real hard on like, you called it dead at Riviera, like dead before it starts. And then they pull off what they pull off. Like if you can't acknowledge that that is something that's onto something, then your opinion means nothing to me either. So I don't know. Now it just circles. I guess let's do Travelers. When's the live video game coming out? I guess.
I know the best was the YouTube channel, which I've subscribed to the live YouTube channel, and they put out those little biopics on everyone. And this morning's was Chase Koepka, which is funny, the timing of that. But and then again, we do need to move to the Travelers eventually. But the strangest thing is like. He's in the field this week. Like, right?
I'd kick him out.
Well, that's the thing. So last time
I would kick him the fuck out. I mean it. I swear to God.
They waited until they teed off in London,
right?
To make the announcement. So it's like if that's the precedent, then he's not technically kicked off, I guess, till he tees off in Portland. So if he just
he's disrespecting. He's trying to.
I know, but Jeff, stay with me.
Point. He's trying to. I'd kick him the fuck out.
Ricky's doing it too, right?
Yeah. If
but Ricky has.
But Ricky sucks. Well, I guess Brooks sucks too. But again, if he makes this announcement on a Tuesday and decides to play, and the tour is just like, all right, he hasn't played there yet. We can't kick him off. Like that's electric. Honestly, the PGA should let him play. Because it's so much media generated for this event, then it's good for them.
Off would create just as much media with Travelers in a headline.
I don't know. You get 4 days of interviews.
No, you might
get 2 days of interviews.
It's probably worth it. Andy, here's the thing. I want Saudi can throw their $50-100 billion at one. You could want to throw $75 million at table for one. Mo Sislak, Patrick Reed. Okay. Like that's your war cry and what you can do, then the PGA, like I said, do every balls to the wall move you got. Kick them the fuck out. Kick them out. Do not let them use you one last time for some world ranking grease. Do not let them use you one last time for
I know, but they set their precedent with the London thing.
Everything's on the fly now, man. This whole world's on the fly. Again, I'm all for live. Go take the money, and their power plays the money. And I'm also here for the PGA to say you're banned from this. And if Stenson goes, I'd remove his Ryder Cup captaincy tomorrow if he tees up in Portland.
I don't know. You can say you're pro live at all. All right. The tour heads to Cromwell, Connecticut this week. And got a bunch of, and producer Dan's there in the media center. He's following. So he's like, I saw a British guy. Not 100% sure which one it was, so we were going through it, and we were trying to figure out which Brits were there, and we're 90% sure it was Willett. The only other report from on the ground is that Mito is wearing a neon shirt you can see from space. Hopefully he wears that during the event, and Christ on a bicycle. It's not like he didn't get my money again.
Yeah, we have another Pete Dye track, TPC River Highlands. We're here all the time. It's been called many things over the years. Short little venture from Brookline over to Connecticut. And then, for some other guys that want to go to, Scotland and jump over and do that this year early, nice little top of the.
I didn't think of that. It's really close, isn't it?
I mean, it's as close as you're going to get, right?
You can drive.
You can try. It's a little hard to drive, but we'll get there eventually. Liv, I'm sure, will fund some floating pods to get you back and forth at some points and be appealing.
Well, I mean, how long would it take you to drive to like Middleton from Boston?
But no, from Connecticut? Oh no, you can drive. Oh, I thought you meant you could drive to Scotland. I was saying like, it's a tough drive, but maybe
like
in time.
People aren't flying, are they?
No, because just outside of Hartford, so you're there. Well, I mean, you get a nice net jet. You're probably flying because you can. So the Joel Damons of the world are probably driving. Lucas Glover might be driving, but interesting top of the board. We do have some elites here. Again, I think there's been some discussions around Jay picking up the phone and asking people to come. Apparently there's going to be an all players meeting here in the next 24 hours or something too, so we might have some more live conversations there. But a handful of elites at the top of the board under 20 with Scotty, Rory, JT, Cantley, Burns, Xander, Spieth, all making the trip here. Again, TPC River Highlands does typically see the week after the U.S. Open a pretty nice field, but I think Geoff went on about this last week, and I thought it was a pretty good spot talking about a little fatigue for Rory. All the stuff that's been going on, how he's kind of been the champion of the PGA Tour, how he really played out in Canada. And then last week was in the mix a little bit, so I think there could be some fatigue there. I think you could see it a little bit with Scotty as well. Scotty's playing in, again, another event after the Schwab. He was in the mix, lost to Burns, kind of let it go a little bit this weekend at the Open. So there's some reasons to bounce down in my vantage point. Is there anything at the top of the board here, Andy? I know I've seen your card, but is there anyone you flirted with here at the top?
Cantlay. Now I'm worried that his head is in a bad place. And again, like Brooks, I had a Brooks Matsuyama, those two their names have been floated together this morning with the news, but Matsuyama over Brooks, and Brooks, I did not expect him to play that well. Those two were tied going into the weekend. And I don't know if Brooks' heads was in different places, because that was, like I said, that matchup went into the weekend tied, and I think Matsuyama won it by 15 strokes. Like, I worry about some of these guys who are flirting with live. I think it does become a weird distraction. And like Cantlay at that price, I love him. I love how he matches up here. I've bet him a lot of times in the past, not much success. But out of anybody, I like him the best out of the top prices at the current numbers. But I still did not fire on anyone near the top.
How about you, Geoff? Is this top tier going to get any of your cash this week? For me, it's there's a lot of guys down in that middle mix, as we often refer to as the Feinberg zone. And that's kind of where all my money is right now.
Same.
But I have some room at the top. I just don't have a good feel for anyone.
Yeah, I don't have a good feel. I haven't made a bet down there. So I have a couple different thoughts on this, because I did make that point last year that like you just like Rory, you make that comment after you win versus Greg Norman. And you may hear Justin Thomas make comments last week or the week of the Canadian Open, that he hadn't slept the best because, just the live stuff and thinking about so many things. And like, yeah, they're like, maybe there is fatigue with these guys as they're now playing again. But a part of me also has this angle, like in this like golf war, they're going to put on the best goddamn show possible. Like almost like it's wrestling creative. Like they're going to be The Rock and Stone Cold, and they're going to be fucking playing at the end. Like it's just, that's where the golf world is, like by hell or high water. I'm not saying it's rigged. I'm saying there's like a mode right now. If they're like truly feel like they're in some war, and a couple guys at the very top seem like they are. Now, that's like a ridiculous thing to say. It's not supported by any model, but you shocked if the leaderboard's like Canada again? Like, like elite? Now, I agree with Andy. I think the best value on the board is probably those Spieth 25s at 365, which they boosted to 28. I haven't run to bet it, but when you consider he was sick at the start of the U.S. Open, how well he really probably played through the end, how well he played coming in, the ball striking, that's as fair is, I would argue, is a 28-1 boosted, which I think was available when we started the show. But yeah, Cantley would be my favorite, but if you're going to live next week, I'm not betting you. Like, I would not want to bet you.
Yeah.
Like, that would be like a red ink There's no way. Like, you got 100 things going on in your
distraction,
mind.
yeah.
And like it's not even about money anymore. Like, I get like every putt's for money, but these guys aren't putting for money until like Sunday at 4:00.
Sure.
You know, everything else about preparing and trying to play well and be in a good spot and figuring things out to be in that position on Sunday. I would want no money on any player who I know is going. I don't know that Cantley's going to live. I don't know. Maybe he's not even going. Maybe he wants to go to live, but he's going to wait it out longer. Like, you know, it seemed like Xander planted his flag at the U.S. Open last week to say, I'm not going, and answered those rumors. And Morikawa answered a rumor today. And if Cantley wants to lie to say he never thought about it, well, you know, I've told you firsthand that wouldn't be true. And we know Xander's his best friend. So that has to, like, he's hearing, like, you know, he's like, both sides are running through his head. But outside of live debate, I think Cantley makes absolutely great sense from that top tier, Andy. Yeah, but
that's what stinks. Like, I can't bet him because it's the same everything Geoff just said. I can't bet him. I don't know if he comes out and he looks like he's focused, and maybe you get similar odds on him later in the tournament where he's not right up on the leaderboard, but he's within striking distance, and maybe there's some big names at the top that are keeping his price depressed. You know, that's not the worst live ad, but yeah, none of those guys below 20 are really peak, like with the fatigue, and then also, what the fuck are they going to do with this course? Because we saw what they did in the 4th round of the Canadian Open. Those cheating Canucks, the cheating, just the people running the course, Geoff.
Yeah, what did they do? Like,
Sunday pins.
Yeah, they put the pins and they made the rain help. The rain was a little assist from Mother Nature.
Hold on,
maybe the Mounties are controlling nature.
Well, they made it 2 What do we? I don't understand.
That course played tough Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
and then they said put on a show.
Exactly.
That's all I'm saying. So stay with me. So they did that, and then I really think, and that was fine. Do that on a Sunday. At the timing, I was okay with it. Then I think last week, these assholes down in Boston decided, why should we just do that Sunday? Let's water these every afternoon. Let's get weird. And it's not like it was 20 under US Open, but man, I think we could have seen someone win that tournament at even par if they'd turned the hoses off a little. So I worry that people are gonna do stupid shit like this again. This is a stupid tinfoil conspiracy theory.
I don't know but who does that help or hurt?
That's what I'm saying. It invites chaos, but I think it invites the best players winning. I think just good scores come from good golfers.
And it's a great fun course that we love to bet on, Ryan, because we've been here forever. So we have winning scores and we have a great handful. We have all the past winners we need to see what type of player we want. And that's an entire mixed bag because you have seen really good drivers of the golf ball, Bubba Watson, Dustin Johnson, come here and win. And I think people sometimes also don't want to give enough credit to the good drivers of the golf ball that they are able to tee up and even have more accuracy when they use a lesser club, which still puts them in advantageous positions. Like yes, they hit their driver well, but it's possible they actually have more control with their 3-wood and they're just fine here when looking at guys that really can crush it. But we've seen shot makers just shoot the shit out of this place. It's got a history. Jim Furyk shot his number here. So there's a lot like the 50, right? So you got to be prepared to just get bulldozed. Like, you think your guys are playing well and these 2 or 3 guys are just bulldozing this place because that happens.
These P-dye tracks have that tendency, which makes it hard because that's kind of the brand, is that really any style wins here. And that makes it a little harder to build a card because when you can kind of build a golfer
30
archetype.
to 60 range between Dustin and Bubba and English, like, it's been very profitable to just bet like the talented players in that next tier. So I guess we could say that is what I have, at least going into it, identified I'm trying to do. I could still maybe make a move up for Spieth, and I'm a loser who doesn't mind Xander. I think at 20, when you just consider like he must be so desperate for a week off a major, week before major, nothing matters. And of course, Sam Burns is the guy we always talk about It could be your member at your own little dinky club. He's going to show up. He's going to want to win, as Mayo joked, doing something with the tour junkies. Like, it's not Big Dick Vic. Like, it's Big Dick Sam. Like, Sam is the man. Like, he's the man. He gives you those vibes. You don't care who he's up against. He's going to beat him. Like, he exudes that. And I love betting on it. I don't do it enough, and I'm not doing it this week, but there's the case.
Burns is my guy at the top. I haven't bet it, but if I'm going to bet someone at the top, it will be Burns. I'm going to hope to do the same thing that I've been able to do and maybe get a late tee time if that pops a little bit, and I can grab Sammy at, in the low 20s because he's mostly 18s. There's a Caesars has a 20, but Burns will probably be my
20 on Sam. Yeah, pretty fair.
Yeah. And again, if we talk about, hey, this course can be beaten up. They're looking at some rain tomorrow, the next day. They're looking
rain
at
a little bit.
They're looking at some rain maybe on Saturday. If it plays easy, I want a guy who can score crazy low. Maybe has scored crazy. Maybe round 3 of the Canadian Open, shot a 62. Maybe has 3 or 4 top 5s in the last 6-8 weeks.
Take out his major stats, and they're like number 1 in the world.
Maybe took that walk. Maybe took a Sunday walk with Tiger one year at a major. Maybe a guy who's played some big rounds. Maybe where he be now.
Welcome to the club. I say, listen, I could be the most disciplined person in the world, but you put like my favorite cake in front of me and put my like favorite like accoutrement on the top and make it 40-1. I don't care what like weight loss plan I'm on. Like, I can't resist Tony Finau. I don't have the willpower to resist Tony Finau. Tony Finau, second in Mexico, Canada, Schwab, ball striking stats that like have at times in the last month been ungodly. 40. A guy who is, I don't know, shown a nice, like, I can be an apologist. Anyone you want to bet on, there's 2 great angles this week, and I'll apologize for both of them. There's guys that missed the cut, and I'll apologize for them. Be like, who cares? Who's the U.S. Open? It's hard. Because I bet on Sung Jae Im too. And then there are guys that played really well who Chez Reavie played great at the U.S. Open and then came here and won. And then last year, Harris English played great to finish the U.S. Open and came here and won. And there's like between Wise and me, like we could just name the not me, but there's a handful of guys, Riley, Leishman, Power, like there's that stack too. But in this moment, I'm going to be betting on the apologist. And it's Tony Finau and it's Sung Jae Im. And I'm an apologist for both of them, but I believe 35 and 40-1, done. Like easy. I went off last week at like 38. You know, I had a future at a little early number, but you know, like I see that 35 and it's.
I know. And there was. We talked about like last week. Oh my God, this field's so good. Even this week, it's like, holy shit, there's a lot of big names at the top. I had trouble narrowing my card down in that like 30 to 50 range. It's like, shit, there's like 8 guys I love here. Like there's a couple that, I love Zal, I love Fitz. Like those guys aren't even here. And, in this 25 to 50 range, like the guys that I love all the time, and it seems like they're all here. And I ended up avoiding him. He was, I think, the first one off. I think Neiman was one of my first ones off as well. And then, Finau. I think you mentioned half my team. Finau, Wise, Riley, Mito in that 35 to 55 range.
Mito's come back down. Like off the high, ended up at. Yeah. Like the Mito numbers, like fair again. Like it's not like at that Memorial post PGA or whatever that was. Like, like no, this feels totally fair to move on Mito. Riley is like a wagon right now. Like for all the Cam Young hype, like give me the Riley in this moment at 45 in this event, then your 40s on Cam Young in the U.S. Open.
No, I had Cam at the U.S. Open, but I had Cam at 70 in the US
I'm just saying, I made bad bets too last week, but I in my mind works. We do this every week, so you can take this long range approach. It's like Cam Young was 40 to win the U.S. Open. I don't think Cam Young and Davis Riley are that different. Now I'm getting Riley 45 to win this. You've got to convince yourself in your own way. So I'm in on Riley. Ryan, when we spoke last week, I haven't bet Aaron Wise this week, but when we spoke last week, it was almost like if Aaron Wise plays well this week, you're screwed. Like you're screwed. And had he finished strong, he's down to Keegan. He's in that 28-1 range. The fact that he kind of fell back at the weekend, you get another chance to get a fair, you wise truthers can get fair equity on a win this week. So I'm happy for you guys. I was thinking about you guys. I saw that 50. I didn't run to bet it, but I'm like, those wise guys got to be happy. Like, that's a number that they got to, yeah. So good for you.
Yeah, of course I took it. I mean, and it was great to see him in the mix for 3 days and play good golf and have a little bit of confirmation bias and be like, I'm not a moron. This is why I'm on this guy. Yeah. He has it. He just got to put it together for.
I say that to you all the time.
Yeah, well, I sometimes deserve it. So, yeah, I'm living in this range too. That's kind of the question is like, do I fire at Burns or do I take 2 more shots in this range? Because I got Keegan early at 41. That's been steamed to all hell.
Yeah, wow.
28s.
I wasn't up when that existed. I'll admit I was most mornings, like, it's the first thing I'll do. Yesterday, it's the last thing on earth I wanted to do. I even told Mayo I've got nothing to say. We end up doing 2 hours. I could do 2 hours again here with you guys. So,
well, I got lucky. We have an 8:30 Monday call, and I was multitasking while Andy was talking about something that I should have been listening to, but I was firing off some bets. So I got the Keegan in a good number. Wise at 50. Also fired at Harmon at 55. Again, just hoping that they can get around here with the plotter. And again, he played pretty well last week too. So hopefully there's some form there too that I like. And then I took a shot on Leishman. I think Leishman is, again, the ball striking. The approach game was really nice last week. Has a fairly decent track record here. If that's your thing, plays fairly well at some die tracks, and a 60 on Leishman I thought was a fairly good number. So that's kind of the tier that I'm at. Those are my shortest guys. I took a couple of bombs, but I'm trying to decide, do I want to do like Meet O'Reilly? The Finau thing is so tricky because I am historically a Finau guy too. I'm a Finau apologist. I'm a little concerned, and this isn't typically part of my process, but like Finau's always so good. He's always such a cut maker. He's like a top 10, top 20 machine that we joke about. That's kind of his MO. 3 straight missed cuts here. It makes me a little nervous that there's something here that doesn't fit his eye because he just doesn't miss a whole lot of cuts in a season. So there's something to that where he's missed 3 in a row here. So Riley, there's a 50 on Riley at PointsBet, which is really appealing.
I saw that.
I think I'm going to grab, but I think I might do that and grab a couple guys in that mid range instead of going at the top. But if I go to the top, it's Burns for sure. Because again, that putter can get white hot. If I think there's a guy at the top that's, most in line to probably shoot a 60 or a couple 62s. I mean, back-to-back 65s on the weekend at Canada. We kind of talked about that being off the radar because all the things that happened in that first group. I think Sammy is another guy that I would go do at the top. So I'm kind of fine with just having these.
The Finau U.S. Open missed cuts, but he usually plays well at the U.S. Open. So now you had the weekend off.
Well, he's missed 3 straight cuts here.
I'm just apologizing. I'm like betting it blind. Like, you don't even have to count it on my card. It's Finau at 40 at the Travelers. I stepped in on Riley at the grid said 50. I could only find a 45, so I bet the 45.
That's what I got.
And I bet Power at 55. He also but I'm looking at Leishman and I'm looking at Wise, and I guess it's those are making a move maybe on that someone in the 20s. But yeah, it's always like, do I take the 2 for 1, the 2.5 for 1, or go up and play the top? And then when the guys at the top are playing well, you're mad at yourself for being like this cheap, not cheap, but you were afraid to pay up, you loser. So it's all part of it. But yeah, I'm living in that 30 to 60. I honestly don't even see myself betting outside of it to go. I think I'm going to take the quantity over quality, I think, when you see what final cards presented. But I've made 4. Finau, M, Riley, Power. And FanDuel's got a Varner 65 to 1. You're probably wondering why I haven't eaten it.
Yep.
I'm mature enough, I'm disciplined enough to say, Tommy, no. I'm not doing it, Tommy. We'll see if I can get there with Harold. You wish it was like a live event, 54 holes. Maybe that would just help. Not even 54. He could do 63. He could do 63, 64 holes and we'll be just fine. But how you tell another place, you're going to make the shit out of it and you could just replay that clip from a few weeks ago where not like what missed the hole, the cup, whatever I said. Rinse, repeat.
Burning the holes.
Yeah.
65 to
rubbing the
1 though,
holes.
Ryan. Like if you went back in time 2.5 weeks, 65 to 1 might feel really fair and nice on Harold. Just gonna end Harold on that.
Yeah, I thought that would be on your card for sure. Because it is like, again, I don't think that you should use this as a way to set the number, but like 35 on DK for Harold. So like a 65 jumps off the page. Doesn't mean the 65 is a good number, but it's telling you that they're taking some action on Harold at 35 or 40 or whatever they took it at. So
that is the other thing about the guys in this range. Like go shop all the prices on Cantlay. You're not going to see a difference. Like not a noticeable difference from any, even if you have 20 outs. But some of these guys, again, like I open 17, 18 tabs. I control F, look for every one of them, control page up, move over a tab. And I'm looking at some of these guys. It's like, I got him for 45 to 1. He's at 28 at this other book. You know, it makes me feel good when you see
DraftKings. Seamus Powers, 28 to 1 at DraftKings. I'm betting Seamus Power this week, but I found you could double that.
Yeah.
You know? So
it's 50 on MGM right now. He's 28 on DraftKings. Yeah, same thing with Riley. Riley's 36 on FanDuel and 50 on PointsBet.
I'm silly enough, and maybe my opinion is now emboldened by seeing a guy I didn't bet on win in Matt Fitzpatrick. But like, I don't think these guys are like I never buy into like they're losers and can't win. Like I never buy into that. I truly don't. Like I wasn't surprised one bit to see Matthew Fitzpatrick win and hit great shots. I wish he hit 1 or 2 less great shots than Zalatoris. I'd have made money, but like I'm never that person. So I can see like the Varners and those guys in like a more holistic, I don't know if that's the right word, view. Like, no, like how do you get that close? Like I'm just doing it. So
Brandon Steele's a guy that I was interested in before I looked at numbers or prices. But he's in this range. He's like 50 and 65. He's been trending nicely, but I feel like, I don't know in my head why I want like an 80 on Brandon Steele, but there's a lot to like about him. As of late, approach game off the tee has been pretty dynamic. Again, short game's not great. Putter can run cold, but again, we're looking for these spike putting weeks, and these prices are nice. I took a bomb on Siwoo at 100, which seemed
you always do.
It's a bad number. I don't know. It's a Pete Dye track. Yeah, it's a Pete Dye track.
100,
almost an autoplay. So
one of the few I was looking at triple digits. Although he's really off, it seems at the moment, but
yeah. For sure. Let's see. He spikes. He's not a guy that typically is necessarily a form guy. He can be a course guy and can have these spike weeks. There's a few other guys that are interesting. Maybe some guys that had really nice, surprising U.S. Open finishes that aren't necessarily going to be for me in the outright market. But Joel Damon is a guy that played some good golf.
It's always 125 to 1. I mean, it's that whole post U.S. Open played well narrative, and he's a huge number at a course you'd think works for him. So I didn't bet it, but I like it.
Yeah, he's like twice what Denny McCarthy is. Like,
oh yeah, it's Denny also.
And you're seeing a lot of people get excited about Denny McCarthy.
Well, it's just people were so ready to bet that Chez Reavie English like narrative. They were foaming, Andy. They were foaming for it, and then Danny has his Sunday, and then they pop him at 65. It's like click. Yeah, no,
They can have it. Like,
the guy I'm about with the decent, because I've liked a lot of we've mentioned Neesmith.
Yeah,
I think I always get suckered in with those ball striking stats, and then hate him when I follow the putts, but. He's a guy who also fits that mold of, nice, very solid U.S. Open week. Should come here feeling good, like some of the other players we're betting on and have mentioned.
No, it's a good call.
So I have Finau, Mito, Wise, and Riley in that range, and then I did take an Aaron Rye.
Oh yeah,
$125, and then someone harkening back to last week. Someone else who outdueled Will Zalatoris this year, Luke List.
I looked at the list number because it's outrageous.
There's some 150s,
and I'll bet it. I'm betting.
I
can't not.
Like, that's getting a few dollars. Like I found a 140 offshore. It's like, god damn it, this is getting bad. Like what if he just gets hot? Like he is a guy. He's like, oh, you're running hot and putts are dropping. Like you're T3 after 3 rounds, and you should be like 80-1. Like that's where Luke List should be right now.
I'm a fan of Luke List, and I'm going to scare you guys with something because someone told me something this morning. And it's maybe part of the reason I'm like, kick Brooks out of here. First alternate, Beau Hossler. But I don't want to have to ask the books for a number. Now, my buddy also made a great joke to me this week on the weekend. He's like, because he knows I'm like, I don't bet Beau a lot, but I'm like a fan of his. It's like, you should ask the sports book for like, Beau will be top 10 at one point in the tournament and he'll finish in the bottom 10. Like, there's got to be a book that will give you that because that's Beau Hossler. But if he gets in the field, Ryan, DFS, I don't want to ask the book for a number. I'd rather them just post a real big one. But I think people will ask for it, which will not get us like more than the 100 we want.
Yeah. 10th year last year. He's got his second here a handful of years ago. You know, obviously played pretty good. Played some good golf last weekend too. So
play in moments. Yeah. Again, he's another guy.
Sure.
Over 72 holes. Like there's just something. Things go horribly wrong, but maybe we can avoid that because he makes a ton of birdies.
Yep. And that matters. Those things pop here. I bet CT Pan 2 weeks ago in Canada at 80, and then he withdrew, and now he's 140.
I looked at that one too. You know, I'm a CT Pan guy.
Yeah, just the ball striking has been really, really good. I mean, the approach game has been just absolute nails for like 8-9 events. So that's interesting to me. Like,
I have his course fit as like a top 20.
Yeah, I mean, he's accurate off the tee, which, you know, again, should matter here. But again, can scramble his butt off, and it really hasn't lost strokes on approach since Waste Management. It's like 10 straight events of gaining shots and being actually just positive strokes gained on the field in all but one except the players. But yeah, I mean, that is an interesting bomb to me too. At double that number, I added Adam Svensson at 280, who also is just kind of popping in a model for me. You probably shouldn't add him as an outright, but he's probably a nice look at maybe a top 40 or top 30 or something like that. If that's your jam, I think that he's an interesting ad. So there's just a bunch of guys in that mix, like Lucas Glover. There's some guys with the course history. You want to go with some of the plotters, the short guys like Brendan Todd and Ches Reavie. Tringale is 125 at Rivers, and that seems like another bad number that I thought was worth mentioning. I'm not typically Cam Tringale guy, but I thought that was off market and off of maybe, I guess, what his floor is as a player. So comparison to the guys around him. But CT Pan at 140, I think, is going to get some shekels from me.
And then, just Smalley and Spawn are always going to pop for me too. Yeah. Like if you want the 150, 200, 250 to 1, like maybe some guys to look at the top 40 markets to kind of close things out. And I've put Aaron Wise up on our top corner here. Look at him.
Deserves it. Smiling.
I think this is it, Ryan. It's that squirrel getting its first nut thing from Geoff. Maybe it's it's not a major, but it's a major deal to Aaron Wise if he could take this down this week. So I'm going to cheer for him. Like I pick an outright that I cheer for out of my outrights.
Aaron Wise is going to be the favorite at the John Deere, isn't he?
Yeah, he's going to be like 12. And
catch him
that's what I'm saying. Just win here and then be like 8-1 at the John Deere, and I don't care.
I can get off of it. Yeah, yep. I can get off of it for sure. So that's kind of it. Yeah. To Jeff's point, like I want to cash it at the 50. I don't want to have to get to 30 and 28s, and then it's like, gosh, and then I actually do have to wonder if I'm ever going to get even on him.
At that point, you're martingaling. You just have to be like, you put it in the Discord. 7 units on Aaron Wise at 10-1 to get even. Look, I need this.
Yeah, for my mental health.
Yeah, it would be.
He popped up. My wife was watching. She saw him on the leaderboard. She's like, "Don't you lose money on that guy every week?" I'm like, yeah, maybe this is not honey. Yep, we're gonna get there this week. So, I'm excited for the Travelers to start, move forward. Scotty, Zal, leave that in the rearview mirror. again, maybe it's just the majors too, but, being in the mix and, PTSD from like, I had Spieth last year at the Open. I had Brooks at Kiowa Island. I had Louis at Torrey. So like having all these like bridesmaids in the majors is painful. So
you had Willie at the PGA.
Yeah. But we also had JT, so we were dancing there. Yep. But
you can add it to the list.
Oh, I know. Bridesmaids are the worst. So
on the Chiron, he gets to be included.
I don't know. When I was like 22, 23, bridesmaids were the best. That was the best part of wedding season. Anyway, 23. I digress. I'm trying to think of like how long I've been married.
I like Neesmith and List and Rye when we're going long shots. Those are the three that I'm looking at. So picking Andy's brain a bit there.
Like it.
We're just rye guys. It's one of my favorite whiskeys too.
And Neesmith, yeah, I got a feeling on 160. I'm seeing a FanDuel, so we'll play that.
Yep, you could sell me on the top 40 for those guys. So good looks, gentlemen. Appreciate it as always. Andy, what do we have for the folks? We have some stuff coming up this week.
Give it Paige, gal, she does a little golf content over on
great
the internet.
This morning.
Sexiest woman.
Maxim's sexiest woman alive. She just sent a little video out. She puts out a little video if you want to ingest your tour preview in like 45 seconds from her. She does that every week with the help of some research over here at Betsperts Golf. But if you retweet that tweet, you are also eligible to. We're giving away a bunch of rope hats. I just ordered a bunch of custom rope hats. We've got 2 different colors. Just follow Betsperts Golf, retweet that, and you're entered. And then, the new tool, I think the development team is crushing the last 1% of it today. And we're gonna have some fun stuff. We're gonna have a free new tool out for everyone to use. Give us some feedback on, as we are currently already working on version 2 of it. It's going to be hopefully the best research tool on the internet for golf somewhere down the road. That's my goal, and I shoot for lofty goals. That's my major. That's how I win a major. That's my big trophy. So
I can't wait to throw a green jacket over your shoulders when it happens, buddy.
I might order one, honestly, or see if Phil needs to sell one to pay off some. He's got money now.
Good stuff as always, gentlemen. We appreciate it. Appreciate the passion. Appreciate you listening and hanging out with us. Although we, spend 30 minutes on the live thing, I think we have to. I think it's important. I think it matters.
One more bet.
Yeah. Let's go.
Because if you see me staring at my phone, my streeter just dropped its odds, and that included the women's major. I've bet my queen, Brooke Henderson, 20-1 to win the KPMG PGA Championship.
Okay.
Also, I've given Mito a nickname, and it is El Capitan. I haven't bought the hat. I've had this hat for a very long time.
I actually think Mito makes a lot of sense this week. Mito, Wise, Leishman, Varner. I got a lot of names.
Yeah,
I got a lot of names to put one or two more of them on.
Chase Riley.
Yeah, one place had a 55.
I bet Riley already.
That's what convinced me. Like if Mito was 40, 45, I probably would have avoided, but then I saw 55. I'm like, God damn it. I tricked myself into betting him again. So let's go El Capitan. Let's go Team Chile. And we'll catch you guys next week. Check out the DFS show in about 3 hours. Same YouTube channel, also available as a podcast as well. This is too, in case one week you missed it. Check it out on your podcast apps. We'll catch you then.